All right, so it's time to refinance your mortgage. And it doesn't matter if it's your residential or commercial property, but I will tell you by now you've probably gotten a lot of offers into, claiming that they're going to save you big money over what you're currently paying. Well, wouldn't it be great if you could determine if that was really true? Well, hang tight. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to build step by step a constant payment mortgage amortization table in Excel. And I'm also going to show you how to compare fees out to determine how much the real cost, what we call the incremental cost of that capital is. Now, this video was recorded last year, and it's really kind of long, but it's great. It's got some really good material in it. Now, if you go down to the description in this video, you're going to find a couple of links in there where I've actually taken this video and broken it up into two parts to make it a little bit smaller for you. So you can just go down there and go directly to it. In fact, if all you want to do is look at how the step-by-step on how to create an amortization table for a constant payment mortgage is down in the link description. If you also want to just go to the section of how to compare out the cost, you can go right down into the link section. You see it down there as well. Now, I hope you like the video. If you do like the video, give us a thumbs up, please, and then hit the subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification so as more videos come out, you can get them. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to go over constant payment mortgages, and we're going to analyze those. Other types of mortgages that we'll go into in future episodes will be your constant amortization mortgages, your variable rate mortgages, which you'll most likely run into, and your graduated payment mortgages. We'll even go over your interest-only mortgages as well. In a final series, what we're going to do is tie that all together so you can graph those up and you can see how they influence the cash flows and the timing of cash flows. If you recall from earlier series, if you watched them, the primary concern of real estate finance is the magnitude of your cash flows, whether they're positive or negative, the timing of your cash flows, and of course, the likelihood that those cash flows will occur like you thought they wouldn't, otherwise known as risk. All right, so let's start building a spreadsheet here. All right, I've already done some work here for you. We're going to build a amortization table here, but I've already built a few of them so we can compare them, okay? So let's just get started here. If we take a look across the top over here, you see our terms of interest. Term is 20 years. The building value is $2 million. We're going to have a loan to value ratio of 80%. So therefore, our loan amount is $1.6 million. Our down payment has to be $400,000. And in this particular case, we have a 2% fee of whatever type it could be. Okay, it could be that you're paying down points or some type of fee for origination. Anyway, it's $32,000 in this particular case. All right, so let's build this spreadsheet. So the easiest way to do this is take a look. We get our monthly, our months, our beginning balance, interest payments, principals, ending balance. And in this particular case, we've created two extra columns here to analyze our cash flows, both with the fee and without the fee. So let's just get started here. The best way to build this spreadsheet is to go ahead and let's take a look at our months. Now, this is going to be 240 months. So if we take here and we go bring this down, and we drag it all the way down to the bottom down here, and calculate it. Oops, you got to be careful to get ahead of us. And it's not very forgiving. Come on, get back up there. Go to 240. There we go. There we are. Click out of that for a sec. All right, let's go all the way up to the top here. And then we come down here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab that cash flow, pull it over. All right. And then on our interest column, what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to go equals to B7, which is our beginning balance, times, we got to get our interest in here, which is going to be our interest rate. Now, one of the things you want to do is freeze this column, okay? So in this case, you're going to hit Shift F4. Whoops, excuse me. Let's do that backwards. Let's go F4 then. There we go. Some computers is Shift F4. Others, it can actually be Function 4. In this case, it's Function 4. All right. So now what's happening here is we're doing this monthly, so we do need to divide it by 12. So we're going to go ahead and divide this number by 12, and then we come over here. All right, so that's our interest payment. Now, our payment, there's actually a function in Excel called payment. And if you go here, you pull in payment. Now, one of the things it does is it gives you all the components you need there. So here's the rate, okay? So we're going to go up here and grab this rate. Again, we're going to freeze it because we don't want it changing on us. And it's by 12 months. And then we're going to come through and we're going to put our comma in there. And then what we need to do is have a term. So here's our term, and we want to freeze that. All right. And that's times 12, okay? And then we're going to put a comma. Now, these payments are going to start declining. So we have to come in here and do a negative. And then we're going to go to D2, which is our loan amount. We're going to freeze it. And then we're going to close the parentheses and hit enter. All right. So that's our payment. Now, our principal is literally going to be our payment minus our interest, right? So there it is. And then what we're going to do is our adjusted balance now is that minus our principal. We hit enter. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to drag and drop. So we're going to copy this all the way down. And some computers, you can actually double click it. And it did this case. Magically, it came all the way down. I would not trust that. If I were you, I'd come down here and check it. So don't ever trust that. I've seen it go way far. In this case, it did it. Now, you know you're right because it has a zero balance here at the bottom. You've paid off this mortgage. All right. Now, let's go over here real quick. Let me click out of that so we don't accidentally mess something up. Now, let's go over here. Now, in this particular case, if we take a look at our bank cash flow here, this is taken into account that this is how much money, this is taking out this $32,000 fee. All right, so watch this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to say this is equal to our payment. Hit enter. Okay. And then once again, all the way down. Make sure it all the way went all the way down. All right. Now, commonly, let's take a look at how finances is looked at. So if you notice that there's a negative sign here and a positive sign here, and that's typically telling you which direction the cash is flowing. From the perspective of the person taking out the loan, they're receiving a loan. That money's coming at them, so it's positive. From the perspective of the lender, they spent the money, okay? So they're looking for flows to come back to them in a positive manner. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do our internal rate of return. And we're going to look at that. So we've got an IRR, okay? And literally, we're just going to go all the way down and grab it. All right. Close parentheses. Now we're going to multiply this times 12 because we had to get that back in there. There we go. And sure enough, we've got a 4.29% effective rate. That's what the bank made off of your fee. All right. So now let's go over here and take the cash flows that you actually paid. So here we go. We're going to copy this over here. Well, this is going to be a negative number, right? Minus, and then we're going to hit that and then hit enter. And if you notice, it gave us a negative number because those cash flows are going away from us. Again, come over here and double click. All right. Now we can analyze those cash flows as if there was never a fee in there. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We got our equals our IRR. All right, now let's grab all those payments. We're going to close that parentheses. Oops, excuse me, shouldn't have done that. Let's go back here. Let's just do this again. Okay. Let's grab those parentheses times 12, enter. And of course, that matches what we actually paid in our interest rate. Makes sense, right? Now let's take a look at the net present value. And what that is that's looking at all the value of all your cash flows in the dollar amount. All right. So here we go. Now Excel does something very interesting. They don't have a true net present value like you would find in a calculator. So what you have to do is you have to work around it real quick. So let's do this. So our net present value, we're going to go over here to G6 here. We're going to grab it. That's what our payment was going out, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the NPV. And here, follow the instructions underneath it. It's got the rate. So we're going to come over here and hit our rate. And then what we're going to do is put our comma, and then we're going to do the values. All the way down here. All right. And then we come up here and we close the bracket. Now it's our net present value. Now let's just take a look at it here. Now in this particular case, here we go. Let me go ahead and get this done here real quick. I'm sorry. And there we go. We are going to hit our value here plus our NPV. Okay, take our NPV here, and we got our rate. We have our rate over here. And then we're going to drag these all the way down. And you're going to see something here in a second. It's very interesting. All right. If you take a look at the difference between these two values, the net present value of all those cash flows, you're going to notice that the difference is that $32,000. So in reality, what you did is you paid a 20 or a 0.23% surcharge to get that. You have to evaluate that later. We're going to go over a different video that goes over the incremental cost of capital and what the implication of all that is. So now we've already built this one. Let's go take a look at it and we'll experiment a little bit. In this particular case, this loan is actually a 30-year loan with the same terms. And if you notice that the NPV is different, same thing. So in this particular case, there's also no fees. So it's 4.06 and 4.06, which is what you would expect to find. All right. We're going to go over here to this number 3 here, and you see that it's the same thing, same terms. All the terms are the same, except now we're back to that $32,000 fee that was in there. And if you'll notice, the cash flows to the bank are a little higher than they were in the 240, which is what you would expect because that mortgage was out there longer. Okay. And the same thing here. Now, this one, I actually changed the interest rate, and you can see how that affected your cash flows. So the effective rate here was 3.16 versus 3.0 here. So you paid 0.16% difference in incremental cost, a little bit less than what you paid at the higher interest rate. All right, let's take a look at the results of all that. Oh, by the way, let's go ahead and get this done real quick. So we're going to have to build this table out real fast. Let me go in here and grab this for us. Same thing here. All right. Okay, so we can actually compare these now fairly easy. So in our first one, which is the demo, the term was 240 months versus the 360 months. And it was a 30-year mortgage versus, this one's a 20 versus a 30-year. And you can see how the fees came out a little bit different versus the fees as they came out in the constant payment mortgage loan with no fees. And the same with a 2% fee. And here it was just a change in interest rate. So what we map out is the cash flows coming from here. Okay. Now, one of the good things that you should do and get used to when you're constructing spreadsheets is you don't hardwire really anything except for inputs that must be inputted. Those can be hardwired. But what you want to do is leave things alone up in here to where all you have to do is change the function here. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to change this one to, we'll say 5%. We can do that. Notice how it all changed here. If we built this spreadsheet correctly, then the results should have come through over here, and they did. So I hope you enjoyed this episode here and you learned quite a bit. Stay tuned for the constant amortization mortgage and the variable rate mortgage, the graduated payment mortgage, and the interest-only mortgage. We're going to set them up very similar in nature with the spreadsheets as we have them. All right, have a great evening. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.